Hello everyone and welcome to my second ever vlog. This one is going to be a little bit different today because it's not at a UKIPT. I'm actually going to be at the EPT festival for the next week or so. I'm going to be playing the 1k UKIPT, the 5k main, potentially the 3k mystery bounty, and maybe the 2.2k high roller as well. So plenty of stuff going on. I'm not just going to show the poker side of things, I'm going to show what I do in my day-to-day life as well as playing poker whilst being at a poker festival. It's going to include quite a few things, so stay tuned if you want to see the travel, if you want to see the food, if you want to see the poker, if you want to go see us going to football matches, going to play golf, all this kind of stuff is going to be covered in the vlog, as well as some hand history reviews, so on and so forth. So yeah, stay tuned. First up is going to be UKIPT. Here we go. In London for day 1A of the UKIPT. It's going to be an £1,100 buy-in. I'm only here for today and then I'm going home and coming back for day 2 hopefully. So yeah, let's go. So there was an early setback on day 1 of the 1100 UKIPT, and we're going to go through one of the hands where I lost a lot of chips, and it was quite early on. So early stages blinds are 100-200 with a 200 ante, and we're 5-handed. So the hijack opens to 500. The button flats, and I'm in the big blind with the Queen of Clubs, Jack of Hearts. So I elect to call. I think it's pretty straightforward. We don't really need to be 3-betting. Folding would be way too nitty, so pretty happy just to call. The board comes Ace-10-5 Rainbow. Now, I had the hijack down as a bit of a weak recreational player. Button similar as well. So Ace-10-5 Rainbow and the hijack bets 1k. The button also comes along and calls, and then action is on me. Now, the majority of the time I might think about just folding here. If we hit top pair, we're not in great shape, obviously. But on the times that we do hit our straight, we're going to be in really, really good shape up against a lot of 2-pair combos and stuff like that. That's going to get us paid. So the implied odds in this spot are pretty good, I think. So I do elect to call. The turn comes at 10 of spades, so now a backdoor flush draw comes in, and the board has paired. So I'm not feeling great about it at this stage. However, the action checks round. So now I'm thinking, well, my opponent's ranges are pretty void of 10x, and I'm probably up against Ace-X an awful lot. Maybe up against some like King, Queen, Queen, Jack type hands as well. But the majority of their ranges are going to be Ace-X. So it checks through, and the river comes an offsuit 6. So now I'm in a bit of a predicament in the fact that I know I haven't got the best hand, but I can't really lead because my opponents are just going to call with an ace. So there's not really much point in me doing anything other than checking now. I do have a lot of 10x in my range, but I don't think we really want to bet because we're just not going to get the desired outcome often enough. So I check, and now the hijack bets 3.5k. This looks very much like he's just trying to get value from his strong Ace-X, and the button calls. So the button is pretty capped here as well. The button never has a really, really strong hand. They never have 10x because they're going to be raising. They're definitely going to be betting the turn as well the majority of the time. So my opponent's range is pretty capped on the button. And the hijack range, I mean, they check the turn, so it's unlikely that they're going to have 10x, right? So at this stage, I'm thinking I've got a really good bluff candidate here. I've got Queen Jack, we're blocking the most likely 10x, Queen 10, Jack 10 suited type hands. So I feel like this is, well, I felt like this was a pretty good bluff candidate because our opponents are just not going to be able to withstand the heat in these early stages of the tournament. 30k start stack. So I elect to make it 14.1k. So it's quite a large raise. It's half a starting stack in the early stages of a tournament, and my opponents just can't call with ace-x. So I'm pretty confident here that this bluff is going to work the majority of the time. Action back on the hijack, and they tank for quite a long time. I'm thinking maybe they've got like ace-king, ace-queen type hand. And they call, which I wasn't really expecting, to be honest. I mean, I wouldn't have made the bluff if I was expecting a call. The button then folds, and the hijack had 10-8 offsuit, which was a little bit surprising to me. I thought they definitely would have bet the turn. That didn't happen, so pretty annoying. We lost the majority of our stack in this hand, so it was time to see if we could spin it up. We'll see how that goes. Unfortunately, it didn't go to plan today. The 1k UKIPT wasn't to be. Had a bit of a tough day, to be honest. The first bullet pretty much went after running a bluff, which I'll talk you all through in just a minute. And the second bullet went on a hero call, which I'll also talk you through. I kind of feel like both were justified, and they just didn't really pay off this time. However, I don't feel like I played that well overall. I think those two hands in isolation were alright, but I don't think I played too well. Gonna have a few days off now, go watch the Newcastle match tomorrow, spend some time with Ellie and the kids, be back stronger on Saturday for EPT Main Event. What a night that was at the Newcastle match at St James's Park under the lights, beating Everton 1-0, laughing at Jordan Pickford's little arms. What more could you want on a Wednesday? So plan now is to go play a round of golf with my friend Stu tomorrow, get a good night's sleep, get up early, head down on the train to London and play day 1A of the 5.3k EPT Main Event. Stay tuned. How you feeling before you hold them on, Stu?
No chance. Gone off the bat.
Dunno.
How are you feeling, Jamie?
Terrible.
How was it?
Oh, what a wreck. Here we go, we'll get you in it. So as you can see there, I've got a very, very tough first table with Tom Middleton on my left and Anton Wigg on his left. So not the best table in the room, if I'm being honest, but I was fairly fortunate in the fact that Midi bust quite early on. I've got a lot of time for Midi, but I was glad to see the back of him, if I'm honest. Anton stayed there, but Midi was replaced by a Canadian pro called Jeff Reardon. Really nice guy, very, very good player. And I was involved in a hand with him, which I'm going to go through now. The blinds were 300, 600, 600, so we're in level 6. Played 10 levels in a day. Falls to me in the small blind, as I mentioned, and I elect just to call with the King of Spades, 7 of Spades. Jeff makes it 3.5x, and I call. So pretty straightforward stuff up until this point. The flop comes the 10 of clubs, 8 of clubs, 7 of hearts. I check, and Jeff checks behind. Again, nothing crazy up until this point. The turn comes the 4 of hearts, and now Jeff bets 4.5k, so quite a big bet. And I call. I don't really see any reason for me to do anything else. I feel like Jeff would bet a lot of hands for protection on this flop, on the 10-8-7. So I feel like my hand is probably the best hand the majority of the time now, unless Jeff's just flopped the world. But I don't think that's going to happen too often because a lot of his kind of Jack-9s, maybe 6-9 type hands would just check pre rather than 3.5x. So I'm pretty confident in my hand. So yeah, I think it's fine just to call. There's no point doing anything else. The river comes a 2 of clubs, which completes the flush, but doesn't really do anything else. Doesn't bring any straights in or anything like that, but it does complete the flush. I check, and now Jeff bets 16.7k, which is an overbet. He overbets the pot. So it's a really, really tough spot. I'm here with third pair on a flush and straightened board, and it's a very, very difficult spot. Now, what Jeff's done here is he's put in a very polarising bet. So what the story that he's telling is basically he has a nutted hand, or he has kind of air, really, but he's blocking things. And I feel like that would kind of make a lot of sense for him to try and push me off an 8, try and push me off a 7, maybe push me off a weak 10. Something along those lines. And I felt like that's the kind of play that he was making. I deliberated for quite a while. I saw Poker News came over as well, and I thought, oh, I'm going to look like a hero, look like an idiot. But I thought it through, figured that he didn't have too many flushes. I felt like he would probably bet a lot of his flushes on the flop. I elected to call, and I beat Jack 5 of Spades. Now, for what it's worth, I feel like Jeff's line is really, really good. It's going to get me to fold out an awful lot of my range. He probably didn't know who I was as well, being a Canadian pro. Probably didn't know I love a hero call on rivers, so he decided to go for it. I really, really like his line, but I like my call a little bit better. So that was a really, really nice one, up to 55k, and in a great spot to make day 2.
Have to release this. Okay. Release this. Okay.
44.5k in the bag for day 2. Did get up to 90k going into the last level, but unfortunately just got it in pre Queens v Kings and could not get there. But 44.5k is great. The plan now is a day off. So day 1B is tomorrow, which is Sunday. I've got tickets to go to Newcastle away at Spurs, so I'm going to show you a little bit of that. Should be a really, really good game. Looking forward to it. And then we'll be straight into day 2. absolutely unbelievable again. First of all, what a stadium Tottenham Hotspur have got. Absolutely loved it. It was brilliant. But what a game. Newcastle winning 2-1. I know I bang on about Newcastle all the time, and I'm sorry to you guys that maybe don't like football, but it's my passion. Getting that 2-1 win has put me in such a good mood for tomorrow, for day 2. Really, really high morale. Let's hope we can take it, spin that 44.5k up to God knows how much. Let's go.
Lineup on the main stage. A few players that UK poker fans are going to be very happy to see, like Jack Sinclair and Jamie Nixon, and Paul Newey, who was a reg on the super high roller circuit for many years. Martin Tuchel is a 2-time EPT main event runner-up.
Nixon going to want to find as many opportunities as possible to, open the action when Ole folds his hand. Expect to see Ole Shemian playing a lot of hands quite aggressively. And a little smirk there from Ole.
Yeah.
Nixon takes on the first hand.
Jamie Nixon, an accomplished player, a pretty well-known player, very popular on the UK circuit.
I felt like it anyway.
Well, action has been folded as Nixon on the button with ace-8.
And an effective shove here against the two 16 big blind effective stacks. And that looks like a quick call from the 2-time EPT main event runner-up. Happily putting them in with kings.
Martin Tuchel at risk, but way ahead.
72% of the time, it works every time.
No ace on the flop. However, the gut shot straight draw for Jamie Nixon, as 6 working for him, as well as aces. 7 cards for Martin to fade.
72%, 72-28 to 70-29 with 2 cards to come. So Nixon actually getting a little help.
I guess I don't have a club, right?
Same cards needed for Nixon.
No TV turn.
Same cards for Martin Tuchel to fade.
Juice.
And King's hold
36
gets the double up through Jamie Nixon.
Yeah, one of those hands that just kind of plays themselves when we're talking about 15 big blind effective stacks. Good sized ace on the button. You just want to shove it in there, hope that the player doesn't wake up. But Martin certainly did.
Pretty frustrating one there with the ace-8. I think we got a pretty standard jam for 16 effective on the button. Just pretty unfortunate to run into kings, but still got a stack. We can regroup, keep it going. Let's spin it back up.
Finally, playable hand for the big stacked Wizzo, as he is known online.
Yeah, and Shemian has dominated many of the major online tournaments that we have covered in the last 2 years. Wizzo is a screen name we have seen a lot. So opens on the button to 6,000. Jamie Nixon 3 bets from the small blind with a smaller ace, ace-6 suited, makes it 21k. Action back on Shemian.
I started with 115.
Yeah, quite a tricky spot for both players here. You know, Nixon recognizes that he's certainly ahead of the opening button range of Ole. But it's always tough in these spots whether you want to, go for this 3-bet, which Nixon has elected to do, or, just call because you don't want to play an inflated pot. The only time you're out of position against the best and biggest stack player on the table. You're kind of just hoping to get this through and move on to the next hand. But the problem inherently for Ole is that he actually has pretty high up at his range with the ace-9. I think ace-jack, ace-10, we would probably see a defend here from Ole, but might make this tight fold with ace-9 and does.
Button move.
Button moved and my patience altered.
Have a look at the chip counts of these players heading back into the field. Their table will remain the same, but it'll be off the stage. Olashemian with 168 big blinds still. And really the only reason he's lower than he was before is because the blinds are going up. That's it. Masaki, Jack Sinclair, very healthy stacks. Not bad for Nixon and Chung. Nui and Sutsor.
So stack-wise, the feature table wasn't the best. Lost a few chips on there, but by no means am I in a bad position. I think I played okay on there. There was a couple of hands where maybe was a little bit too loose, but overall I think it was okay. Onto the outer tables now, where we are coming back to 1,000, 2,500 blinds. Let's keep going. So I know the video quality wasn't the best on that one, but there was a massive hand that I wasn't expecting to happen. The blinds are 1,000, 2,500. Tim Chung opens to 5k in the hijack. Folds round to Ollie Shemian in the small blind, who makes it 20,000 to go. I'm in the big blind with just over 100,000 chips, so around 40 big blinds. And I have ace-queen offsuit, which is a really, really difficult spot to be in, where we have three options available to us. Those options being fold, call, or raise. Now, Ollie was an overwhelming chip leader at this time, so I felt like his 3-bet range would be a little bit wider. Also, ace-queen is a really, really good hand to 4-bet jam there. It's one of those where we can get some hands like 8s and 9s and potentially 10s to fold. We can fold out a lot of equity where he has stuff like king-jack, that's 3-betting. He's going to fold out ace-jack, which obviously we're ahead of, but if we just call, then we're going to miss the flop most of the time. Ollie's going to see bet a lot and we're just going to have to fold. So I felt like at this stack depth, I think it was a really, really good spot to take down the pot there. And then ultimately he tank called with jacks and we didn't win the flip. So I ended up busting around about 40 from the money, which is really, really disappointing. I felt like after having such a good run at the start of day 2 to go from 45k to 150k, I really thought something was going to happen. Unfortunately, it just wasn't to be, and it wasn't my tournament to win. So, congrats to Ollie for winning that hand. Really, really big pot. I think it put him up to something like 500,000-600,000 chips, and at the time of recording, he's still in. So, good luck to him and good luck to everyone else still going in the tournament. That was me done for EPT. I was going to play the Mystery Bounty, but I didn't end up regging it because I was in day 2. So, all in all, didn't get any cashes in the 2 tournaments that I played, but I very much enjoyed the week. Not just the poker, but everything that went with it. I hope you've enjoyed the vlog. I'm going to be doing more of these as time goes on. All the live events that I'm going to go to, I'm going to do some of these. So let me know in the comments if there's anything that you'd like to see. Make sure you click subscribe because you'll get notifications every time that I do another one of these. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. It's much appreciated. And hopefully see you all soon. Cheers.